I mean, clearly we felt as if it was unproductive, and unfortunately all the work that was put in over the past 2 weeks, the media is going to overshadow it by that negativity that we see in violence. We don't condone violence, but we also understand and know that our young boys who are out here who are causing the violence, they're really speaking in frustration. Unfortunately, they've been failed from a socioeconomic perspective. They've been failed from a schooling perspective. They live in basic abject poverty, and that's their tone and that's their message. They don't have the ability of going in front of a TV camera and intellectually expelling that frustration out to you, and the way that they're doing it is violence. Again, I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's acceptable, and we need it to cease immediately. However, I think it's critically important that once we bring a calm to Baltimore, we understand and know that we need to reach out to the young, and we need to provide them with real opportunities and a real chance to truly succeed in America.
You talk about people speaking out in frustration. Do you mean frustration over the death of Freddie Gray, or do you think it's a bigger issue than that?
This is much bigger than Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray was the last incident that kind of culminated what's going on. However, it provided them with the opportunity to truly speak out about it. The one thing I'll say is 90% of all of the protests and demonstrations have been truly peaceful. And unfortunately, the media is going to cover the 10%. It's going to overshadow all the positive they've put in work. Another thing is, you know, the guys around me, the 300 Men movement, led by Munir Bahar and Brandon Scott, have been out here for years, really reaching out to the community, engaging these young folks, trying to bring a common divide that's been broken in our community between police enforcement and the community for some years. And, you know, all that has played out over the past couple of weeks truly increases that divide and truly increaes that distrust.
Well, yes,
but again, this is the type of stuff that we're not showing in America. We're not showing, you know, how these men of Baltimore City, the 300 Men movement again, is out in front and truly trying to take back the streets, trying to engage the young boys and trying to ensure that folks understand and know that we understand the frustration.
Well, yes, and how would you characterize the level of anger there over Freddie Gray, but also over other people, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin, over race and policing and perceived prejudice? How would you characterize that, and where do you think it could lead?
The level of anger is high. It's very tense. There was just a conflict literally about 15 or 20 minutes ago on the corner of Fulton and North Avenue here in West Baltimore. See, people keep comparing this to Ferguson, but Baltimore is not Ferguson. You know, Baltimore is blocks and blocks and blocks of alleys and streetways and abandoned buildings. You know, this is not a Midwest city, small town. This is a major American city with a scale and a scope of individuals that are just really disgusted at the current living conditions and the current status. Unfortunately, they're fighting their grandfather's battle. You know, this poverty, this lack of education, this lack of resources, this pipeline to prison that has been recycling these individuals over and over again is nothing new to this generation. We understand and know that change comes from the youth. And unfortunately, the youth is speaking in a violent way, in a way that's unproductive, and that's why men like 300 Men are trying to get to them. However, you know, they're speaking. You know, again, they don't have the ability of going in front of a camera and intellectually telling you why they're so frustrated, the systemic issues that plague communities that they live in. However, they're showing us. They're showing out their pain. You know, we had the ability to stop at some folks who are affiliated with a gang here in Baltimore. They have been drinking all day, they have been unproductive all day, and towards the end of the night, one of them just completely broke down because they're tired. Everybody wants to be productive. When we're born, no matter if you're in the UK or you're in America, your parents and your folks tell you that you could be whatever you want to be in life. But unfortunately, that's not always true for folks depending on their zip code and area code, and folks are frustrated and upset. Again, I will continue to stress, we don't condone it. We know it's unproductive. We know it's not bringing us closer to justice. However, I'm just trying to explain the plight and try to explain the mentality of these young boys that are going out here committing the violence.
Well, yes, and fires have been lit, haven't they? Shops were looted last night, and the police were pelted with bottles and bricks and other debris as well. Do you think the police should have been tougher on those protesters? I
think the police, I mean, I don't think they expected to see what they got. I think they decided to prepare for the young children of Baltimore that was going to meet up at Mondawmin and start this purge movement. They met there with 50 to 70 officers and some armored vehicles. They pushed the kids into the community, into a main thoroughfare that runs east and west through Baltimore called North Avenue. And it's at that point that's when it erupted. I was in the middle of it. I was driving in my car from the funeral site of New Shallow to City Hall at about 4:40 yesterday when I seen the first police car get brutally attacked by a mob of probably 20 to 30, 40 kids. And those pockets continue to spread throughout the night. And, you know, at the end of the day, the most important step is for us to defuse the situation, de-escalate it, meet them to a point where understanding, no, we have to enforce the law. So if you're breaking the law, you need to face the consequences. But we need to develop a way of de-escalating this, and we need the subject matter expertise here. I'm glad that local jurisdictions have come on board. I'm glad that the Maryland Guard has come on board. But we really need to bring calm to our communities.
OK, well, Nick Mosby, we appreciate you talking to us here tonight. Baltimore City Councilman Nick Mosby, thank you.
Thank you so much.